This is the fifth lecture on linear programming. So far, I have discussed the basics and terminologies of linear programming, problem formulation, and graphical method. Now, here I am beginning with the analytical method. The analytical method for solving LPP. As I have discussed that whenever the decision variables are restricted up to 2, a graphical method can be used. But whenever that value exceeds 2, it becomes essential for following the analytical method for solving LPP model. So simplex is a analytical method that is used for solving LPP models. Using simplex method, any number of decision variables can be solved. So here I am beginning with one numerical and try to explain that how the simplex method work. What is the algorithm of simplex method, that I'll explain initially, and for that I'll be taking the same numerical that I have solved using a graphical method. The numerical state that it is of maximization function max z 100x plus 125y, that is subjected to constraint equation 4x plus 6y is less than or equals to 24 and 4x plus 2y is less than equals to 16, subjected to x and y are greater than 0. This numerical I have solved using graphical method as well, but here I try to solve this using a simplex method. Means here I have also taken two variables. So the very first step in the simplex method, in simplex algorithm, is that these inequalities that I have, that I require to convert into equalities. And for converting these inequalities into equalities, it becomes essential for us to introduce a slack variable. What is the slack variable? That if I rewrite this equation 4x plus 6y plus s1 equals to 24. So in this equation, this s1 is my slack variable. This s1 is my slack variable. What is the value of slack? That this 4x plus 6y, this 4x plus 6y, it is short of this 24. So by amount of which it is short of this 24, that amount is compensated by the slack variable. Yes, s1 is the amount by which this 4x plus 6y is short of 24. So I have introduced one slack variable. Likewise, for the second case, 4x plus 2y plus s2 equals to 16, it has the same interpretation. S2 is the magnitude by which this 4x plus 2y is short of 16. Now as I have introduced two extra variables, it becomes essential for me to rewrite my objective function. That now I have 4 variables instead of 2. So if I rewrite my maximization function, max z equals to 100x plus 125y plus 0 s1 plus 0 s2. The coefficient of s1 and s2 in the objective function are taken as a 0, because s1 and s2 are my slack variables, they are imaginary variables, they are not contributing towards a maximization of the function, hence their coefficient are considered as a 0. Subjected to constraint equation 4x plus 6y plus s1 plus 0 times s2 equals to 24 and 4x plus 2y plus 0 time s1 plus s2 equals to 16, subjected to xy, s1 and s2 are greater than or equals to 0. This is the first step in a simplex method. Now moving forward, here after our simplex algorithm starts, and simplex method is a iterative method, means number of iterations are required to be performed. So here I am beginning with the first iteration. If I write my first iteration, so how to start the iterative process? For beginning this iterative process, the slack variable that I have in my constant equation, this two equation, these equations are required to be rewrite in the form of slack variables. Means the first equation should be written as this way: s1 equals to 24 minus 4x minus 6y, and likewise s2 should be written in this way: 16 minus 4x minus 2y. Here I am ignoring this s1 and s2 as they are having a 0 coefficient. So I have rewritten my equation in this form, in the form of my slack variables. Now here comes another two terminologies. These are referred as our basic variables and non-basic variables. So s1 and s2 in these equations are my basic variables, and this x and y in this equation are my non-basic variables. In this iterative process, the variable that I have on the left hand side, of the equation are referred as my basic variables, and the variables that I have on the right hand side are my non-basic variables. In this way we are defining the basic and non-basic variables, and non-basic variables have their magnitude 0. This is assumption, initial assumption, that non-basic variables have their magnitude as a 0. Now if I rewrite my maximization function max z, that is 100x plus 125y plus 0s1 plus 0s2, I have rewritten this objective function again here. So what is our objective? Objective is very clear, that I require to maximize the profit, and for this maximization of the profit, what I need to do is that I require to increase the value of x and y. So if I pay attention to this objective function right now, what is the value of my profit? What is the value of z? So the value of z currently I have that as a 0. Why 0? Because x is my non-basic variable, it has a magnitude 0. Y is again a non-basic variable, it has a magnitude 0. s1 and s2 have a coefficient zeros. So this entire function has currently magnitude of 0. Now the objective is to maximize this function. How can I maximize this function? So for that, what I need to do is that I require to increase the value of x and y. either I can increase the value of x or I can increase the value of y. So if I increase the value of x by 1 unit and if I increase the value of y by 1 unit, which will contribute more to the maximization function? So if I increase the value of x by 1, maximization function becomes 100 into 1, that is 100. If I increase the magnitude of y by 1 unit, so objective function will be 125 times 125 into 1, that is 125. Means y is contributing more because y has a relatively larger coefficient. Yes, so this particular y should be selected initially for increasing the objective function because it has a relatively larger coefficient. So y is referred as my incoming variable now. Y is referred as my incoming variable. Now, as I have selected y as such that its value should be increased. Now, in these two equations, if I increase the value of y in both the equation, so what is the permissible limit up to which I can increase the value of y? If I increase the value of y by 1 unit, I have just increased the value of y by 1 unit in this first equation. So value of S1 becomes 24 minus 4 into 0 because I am not increasing the value of x. So this component remains 0. So 24 minus 6 into 1. So that is 18. The value of s is positive. So what is the maximum limit by which I can increase the value of y? So if I increase the value of y equals to 4, if I increase the value of y up to 4, so at that time I'll get the value of s1 as a 0. 24 minus 6 into 4, that is 24. So 24 minus 24, it gives me a value of s1 equals to 0. If I increase the value of y further, means if I increase the value of y by 1 extra unit, means by 5, so in that case 24 minus 13, the value of s is negative. So it is the violation of your non-negativity condition, because in non-negativity condition initially we stated that x, y, s1 and s2 should be greater than or equals to 0. This condition has to be followed every time. So maximum value by which the y can be increased in the first equation is 4. It gives me the value of s1 equals to 0. Likewise, in the second equation, the maximum value of y that can be increased is 8, y equals to 8. 16 minus 2 into 8, that is again a 16, and it gives me a 0 value. So the value of y can be increased up to 4 in my equation 1, and it can be increased up to 8 in my second equation. But actually I can increase the value of y up to 4 only. Yes, I can increase the value of y up to 4 only. If suppose I take the value of y equals to 8, and if I put that in this first equation, it will violate the non-negativity condition. Means the upper ceiling up to which I can increase the value of y is limited to 4 only. Beyond that I cannot increase. So here I am getting the relatively lower value for this particular equation. Here I am getting the relatively lower value for this particular equation. Hence this s1 variable is referred as my outgoing variable. This s1 is referred as my outgoing variable. As such, y is incoming variable here, So one variable has to leave. This is the basic algorithm, that one variable is coming, so another variable has to leave. So y is incoming variable from the objective function, and hence s1 will be the leaving variable. So now here I am coming to the second iteration. So for second iteration, now what I have to do, that I have to rewrite this equation in the form of y, means 6y equals to 24 minus 4x minus s1, means y equals to 4 minus 2 by 3x and minus 1 by 6 s1. Yes, this is my new equation, and y is my now new basic variable, as such it is on the left hand side, and s1 becomes my non-basic variable. Now rewriting the second equation, s2 equals to 16 minus 4x minus 2y. So s2 equals to 16 minus 4x minus 2 into y, means I require to put back this value, minus 2 by 3x minus 1 by 6 s1. If I open the bracket, s2 equals to 16 minus 4x minus 8 minus minus plus 4 by 3x minus minus plus 1 by 3 s1. So s2 I am getting here is 16 minus 8, that is 8, minus 4x plus 4 by 3x, so 12 plus 4 minus 8 by 3x. You can do it here as well, minus 4 plus 4 by 3, so it gives me minus 12 plus 4 divided by 3, it is minus 8 by 3, so minus 8 by 3 x plus 1 by 3 s1. This is my second equation. Yes, in the second iteration I am getting this two equation as I was getting this two in the first iteration, and now y and s2 are my basic variables and s1 and x are my non-basic variables. Rewriting the objective function, as I have written these two equations, I require to write my objective function max z equals to 100x plus 125y. Now here I am ignoring this to 0 s1 plus 0 s2 because ultimate their value is 0. So 100x plus 125y. What is the value of y? It is 4 minus 2 by 3x minus 1 by 6 s1. So it is 100x plus 125 into 4, that is 500, minus 125 into 2, that is 250 by 3x minus 125 by 6 s1. So 100x minus 250 by 3, so it is 300 minus, it is 50 by 3x. We can do that here as well, 100 minus 250 by 3, so that is 300 minus 250 divided by 3, so that is 50 by 3. So z equals to, this is 500 plus 50 by 3x minus 125 by 6 s1. This is my objective function. See, initially I had maximum z as a 0. Now here z has already been increased by 500, because now I am getting here as a 500 plus this one 50 by 3x minus 125 by 6 s1. Now again I have to increase the z value. Now z value can be increased by two ways. Either I can increase the value of x, either I can increase the value of this x, or I can decrease the value of s1. There are two ways. What is x and s1? X and s1 in this case are my non-basic variables. X and s1 are my non-basic variables. Non-basic variables means they have the value of 0. Means S1 has currently value of 0. So I cannot decrease the value of S1 beyond 0 because it will be the violation of non-negativity condition. Yes. Right now the value of x is also 0. I cannot decrease that value, but yes, here it comes with the positive sign, so I can increase the value of x. Here I can increase the value of x so that I can increase the maximization function max that. Yes, means x should be selected here as a my new incoming variable. X should be selected here as my new incoming variable. So as the x is selected as our new incoming variable, either of these two variable has to leave, either y or s2. So what is the maximum value that I can increase of x in this two equation? What is the maximum value of x I can increase in this equation? So here in this equation, if I increase the value of x by this way, minus 4 minus 2 by 3 x equals to 0. So 4 into 3, that is 12 by 2, that is 6 x. If I put the value of x equals to 6 in this case, if I am putting the x equals to 6, so 2 into 6, that is 12 by 3, that is 4. 4 minus 4, it gives me a value of y 0. Means beyond 6 I cannot increase the value of x in this equation. S1 has a 0 because it is non-basic variable. So x I can increase in this equation up to 6. For this, again, it is 8 minus 8 by 3, x equals to 0. So x I can increase by 3. I can increase the value of x by 3. If I put the value of x equals to 3 in this case, so 8 by 3 into 3, so 3 get cancelled out, 8 minus 8 equals to 0. This variable has a 0, so s2 becomes a 0. So maximum value of x that can be increased in this equation is up to 3. So among these two, the lowest value I am getting for x for the s2 case. Likewise, in the previous case, for the first iteration, I have selected s1 based on the value of y equals to 4. Here, by comparative analysis, the lowest value that I can increase is for s2. Means s2 will be the leaving variable. It is my outgoing variable in this case. It is our outgoing variable. So if I rewrite this equation, means now I am beginning with the third iteration. If I begin here with the third iteration, now what I need to do is that I require to rewrite this equation in the form of x. So 8 by 3x equals to 8 plus 1 by 3 s1 minus s2. Yes, x has become my basic variable now. So x equals to, here what I'll get, 3 by 8 means 3 plus 3 by 8 means 8 times s1, 1 by 8. Yes, 1 by 8 s1 minus 3 by 8 s2. Yes, this is what I am getting as the equation for the x. X equals to 3 plus 1 by 8 s1 minus 3 by 8 s2. This is my first equation. Now, what is the second equation? Second equation was this one, as this equation is already written in the form of x. This equation y equals to 4 minus 2 by 3x minus 1 by 6 s1. So y equals to 4 minus 2 by 3, x is 3 plus 1 by 8, s1 minus 3 by 8, s2 minus 1 by 6, s1. So y equals to 4 minus 2, this is minus 2 by 24 right now, let write in this way, 2 by 24 s1, 1 by 12, minus minus this gets plus, 4 3s are 12 by 8 s2 minus 1 by 6 s1. So y equals to 2 minus 1 by 12 s1 minus 1 by 6 s1 and plus 12 by 8 s2. So y equals to 2 minus 1 by 12 minus 1 by 6. So what I am getting here is that minus 1 by 12 minus 1 by 6. So minus 6 minus 12 divided by 72. So minus 18 divided by 72. So that is 1 by 4. So minus 1 by 4 s1 plus this is 3 by 2 s2. This is the equation for the y. This is my second equation. 2 minus 1 by 4 s1 plus 3 by 2 s2. What is my maximization function? My maximization function in the previous case was this one. So I am rewriting that 500 plus 50 by 3 x minus 125 by 6 s1. Yes, so putting the value of x in this equation, what I'll get is 500 plus 50 by 3 into x, that is 3, plus 1 by 8 s1 minus 3 by 8 s2 minus 125 by 6 s1. See, now max z equals to 500 50 by 3 into 3, so that is 50 plus 50 by 24 s1 minus 150, it can be written in this way, 50 by 8, 3 get cancel out, s2 minus sign minus 125 by 6 s1. So 550 plus 550 plus 50 by 24 s1 minus 125 by 6 s1. So if I do that here, 50 by 24 minus 125 by 6, so 50 into 6, that is 300, minus 125 into 24, that is 2990 divided by 144. So this gives me a minus 2630 by 144. So 550, the simplification of this s1, that I get as a minus 2630 by 144 s1 and minus 50 by 8 s2. What is this? This is my max z. Okay, this is the third iteration. This is my entire third iteration. Now in this third iteration, see, the maximum profit that I have achieved is 550 minus 2630144 s1 minus 50 by 8 s2. Now I can increase this profit again by decreasing the value of s1 and s2. As such, they are having a negative signs. As such, they have negative signs. I can decrease the value to maximize this profit. But s1 and s2 currently in this two equation, in x and y equation, are on the right hand side, means they are a Non-basic variables means they already have their values as a 0, means they cannot be reduced furthermore. So means this particular solution cannot be further processed. Yes, so this is the limiting value. This is the last iteration, because beyond this the iterations cannot be performed. S1 and S2 are already have their values 0, they cannot be further reduced below 0. As such, it is a violation of non-negativity condition, means the iterative process resumes here. Means the iterative process resumes here. So S1 and S2 are 0. So what is the profit I am getting? I am getting the maximum profit equals to 550. The maximum profit that I am getting here is 550. What is the value of decision variables? So S1 and S2 have their value 0. So X is 3. Here S1 and S2 again they are non-basic variables, they have value equals to 0. So Y should be selected as a 2. Means my final solution states that X should be 3, Y should be 2, and the maximum profit I am getting, that is 550. See, we can cross verify this by putting this value of X and Y in our objective function. What was our objective function? It was 100x plus 125y. So 100 into 3, that is 300. 125 into 2, that is 250. 300 plus 250, that is 550. Alternative to that algorithm is that a simplex table is also feasible, with the help of which you can solve the same numerical, and that is relatively simpler. So in a simplex table, the very first column is allocated for the Cj variable. What is Cj variable? Cj variable is the objective function value, objective function coefficient, objective function coefficient. After that first column, the second column that I have, it is for basic variables. Next column is for the solution. After these three columns, the fourth onwards, the columns are for the decision variables. So decision variables, I have X, Y, S1 and S2. So this is the structure that we have of simplex table. Initially what we have to do, that the basic variables that are required to take here are S1 and S2. We have to begin this with the basic variable as a slack variables, imaginary variables, S1 and S2 that we have to take. Now basic variables that we are aware, what is the Cj, objective function coefficient? Means in objective function, what are the coefficient of these four variables? For X, the coefficient is 100, for Y 125, for S1 it is 0 and S2 it is 0. This two cells are required to keep empty. So after this initial structure, when we begin with the solution, the first step that I require to keep my basic variable are slack variables. Means S1 and S2 I have kept here as a basic variables. What is the Cj value for S1 and S2? It is 0, 0. So I am writing the Cj value as 0, 0. Solution. So this first row is associated with the S1 variable. This row second over here is associated with the S2 variable. Now in the first equation, the first row is associated with the first equation. What is the solution value? Solution values are on the right hand side. So solution values, I have 24 for the first equation. So that I'll write here as a 24. What is the coefficient of x in the first equation? 4. Coefficient of y in first equation 6. Coefficient of s1 in the first equation, that is 1, and coefficient of s2 in the first equation, that is 0. Likewise, for the second case, for s2 the solution value is 16. The coefficient of x is 4. The coefficient of y, that is 2. Coefficient of s1, that is 0, and coefficient of s2, that is 1. This much information is needed from the objective function constraint equations. Here onwards, I am required to introduce another variable, that is my zj variable. I have introduced one more variable, that is zj. Zj variable, it is actually a resultant of the Cj value and the coefficient values. The Zj is nothing but the multiplication of these two. See, 24 into 0 plus 16 into 0. So that gives me a 0 for this column. For this column, the value of Zj will be 4 into 0 plus 4 into 0. That is again a 0. For this column, 6 into 0 plus 2 into 0, that is 0. Zj value 1 into 0 plus 0 into 0, that is 0, and here 0 into 0 plus 1 into 0, that is again 0. So, for the initial iteration, for all the columns, the value of Zj will be 0. Here, diagonal to this, I require to introduce one more row, that is for Zj minus Cj. So, this row indicates the value of Zj, this row indicates the value of Cj. So, Zj minus Cj, 0 minus 100, that is minus 100. 0 minus 125, that is minus 125. 0 minus 0, that is 0, and this is also a 0. Now, here at this stage, what I need to do is that after this much exercise, I require to find out which variable is my incoming variable. So, the incoming variable can be identified from this Zj minus Cj. The lowest most value is considered as a incoming variable of Zj minus Cj. So, lowest most value here is minus 100 and minus 125. Among these two, the lowest value is minus 125. So, this is my incoming variable. Corresponding to this, whatever the cells I have here, I draw them in a box. So, this column is referred as our key column. This column is referred as our key column, and here I require to add one more column, that is my replacement ratio. Here I require to add one more column, that is my replacement ratio. So, I have added the extra column for the replacement ratio. What is the replacement ratio? Replacement ratio, it is the ratio of your solution column, the cells of the solution column, divided by the cells of the key column. Solution column divided by the key column variables. So, solution value has 24 divided by 6. So it is 4. Likewise for this one, solution cell has a 16 and key column has a 2. So 16 by 2, that I am getting here as a 8. So replacement ratio will provide me information that which variable will be outgoing. So as the key column indicated that the y variable is incoming, it has a minus or list value of Zj minus Cj. The lowest value of replacement ratio will indicate that corresponding to this particular row, this variable will be considered as a outgoing variable. And this particular row, this entire row, is referred as my key row. Yes, key column and key row. Intersection of this key column and this key row, this cell is referred as my key variable. Yes. How I can identify key column? From Zj minus Cj value. How can I identify the key row? From the lowest value of the replacement ratio. Intersection of this key row and key column is referred as my key variable. After doing this, I have to begin with my second iteration. This is the end of my first iteration. So for the second iteration, what I'll do that I will replace this S1 with the Y. I have replaced the S1 by the Y. S2 I will keep as it is. What is the Cj value of Y? The Cj value of Y is 125. Cj value for the S2 is 0. Now what I have to do is that for writing these values, for filling these cells, it is essential for me that the key variable must have a unity value. That is the constraint. This is the constraint that I have to satisfy. The constraint says that the key variable must have a unity value. This is first constraint. We have two constraints. Out of that, the very first constraint is that the key variable must have a unity value. So how can I bring here a unity value? That if I divide this entire row by the 6, if I divide this entire row by the 6, I can get the value of key variable as a unity. So if I am doing that, if I am performing that step, so 24 divided by 6, 4 by 6, that is 2 by 3, 6 by 6, that is 1, 1 by 6, and 0 divided by 6, that is 0. So here ends our first operation in the second iteration. So the first condition is that the key variable must be unity. So I have done that. What is the second constraint, second condition? That the entire column of key variable, this column should have the value in each cell except the key variable a 0 value. What it states that in the key column, key variable must have a unity value, that we know, but apart from that, all the cells that I have, those cells must have a value equals to 0. So what I need to do is that I require to bring over here a 0. I require to bring at this place a 0. So how can I bring here a 0? So what I have to do is that to bring over here a 0, I require to perform a row operations. I require to perform one row operation. But for performing that row operation, now here I have to consider this row only. Means here onwards, I do not need to look for the this particular row. This row is cancelled out. Now I require to pay attention to this particular new row only. So what I have to do is that I require to bring a 0 here at this particular cell. So if I multiply this particular row by 2, if I multiply this row by the 2, and then if I subtract that value from this particular row, I can get a 0 here. I am repeating that if I multiply this entire row by the 2, so at this cell I will get a value of 2, and then if I subtract that value from this entire row, I can get a 0 here. So I am doing that. So initially what I do that, initially let multiply this entire row by the 2. I am writing here on the sides what are the values I am getting. So 4 is multiplied by the 2, so that is 8. 2 3 is multiplied by the 2, so it is 4 by 3. 1 is multiplied by the 2, so I am getting 2. 1 6 is multiplied by the 2, so I am getting 1 by 3. It is 2 by 6 means 1 by 3. 0 is multiplied by the 2, so I am getting 2 here. I have written that on a rough side. So these are the cells I am getting if I multiply this row by the 2. Now what I have to do is that these values I have to subtract from this row. So 16 minus 8, that is 8. 4 minus 4 by 3, so that is 8 by 3. Let's do this. 4 minus 4 by 3, so 12 minus 4 divided by 3, so that is 8 by 3. So here I am getting 8 by 3. 2 minus 2, that is 0. 0 minus 1 by 3, so that is minus 1 by 3. Then what I got here, 1 by 3, and this value should be 0 actually. Yes, 8, 4 by 3, 2, 1 by 3, and yes, 0 is multiplied by 2, so that is 0. So 1 minus 0, that is 0. So this is what I am getting for the S2 variables. Yes, 1 minus 0, that should be 1 here. Yes. So here ends my second iteration. Still in a second iteration, I require to compute the value of Zj. So for computing the values of Zj, what I have to do is that now I have to multiply this variable 125 into 4. So that is 500 plus 8 into 0, that is 0. 125 into 2 by 3. So that is 250 by 3, and this is giving me a 0. 125 into 1, that is 125. 125 into 1 by 6, that is 125 by 6, and this I am getting as a 0. Again, if I do the Zj minus Cj, so 250 by 3 minus 100. So 250 by 3 minus 100, so that is giving me a minus 300 minus 50 by 3. So it gives us a minus 50 by 3. 125 minus 125, that I am getting as a 0. Here I am getting 125 by 6 minus 0, 125 by 6, and 0 minus 0 is 0. Yes. Again, what I have to do is that I require to identify the lowest most value. Here I am getting this value minus 50 by 3 as a lowest most value. So corresponding to this will become my key column, and it also indicate that x will be now my incoming variable. Okay. Now I have to find the key row. How to compute the key row? For that I have to identify the replacement ratio. So for the replacement ratio, solution column has to be divided by the key column. So 4 divided by 2 by 3. So what it gives me a value? 4 divided by 2 by 3. So 12 divided by 2, that is 6. And here 8 by 3. Sorry, here 8 is divided by 8 by 3. So that is giving me a 3. So we know that among these two, this one value is relatively lesser. So this will become my key row. This will become my key row, and this is my key element. Here ends our second iteration. Now I have to perform third iteration. So for the third iteration, we know that y remain as it is. S2 is a key row variable, so this variable is leaving. Key column variable is entering, so that is x. What are the CJ value of y and x? It is 125 and 100. So I rewrite this value 125 and 100. Now first I have to perform operation over here for this row. The rule is very clear that the key variable must have a unity value. So how can I get a key variable as a unity value if I divide this entire row by 8 by 3? So if I divide 8 by 8 by 3, that we have already done here, so I'll get this cell as a 3. 8 by 3 divide by 8 by 3, so that I am getting as a 1. 0 is divided by 8 by 3, so that is 0. Minus 1 by 3 is divided by 8 by 3. Minus 1 by 3 is divided by 8 by 3. So 3 get cancelled out. What I have residual is minus 1 by 8. 1 is divided by 8 by 3. So that I am getting as a 3 by 8. Yes. So this row is clear. Now I have to write the variable for this row. What is the condition for that? That in a key column except the key variable, all the cells should have a 0 value. How can I do that? If I multiply this row by the 2 by 3 and then if I subtract it from this row, I can get over here 0. So let's multiply this value, this row value, by 2 by 3. So if I multiply 3 by 2 by 3, so 3 get cancelled out. The very first variable that I will be getting is 2. Next, 1 is multiplied by the 2 by 3, so that I will get as a 2 by 3. 0 is multiplied by the 2 by 3, so that becomes 0 itself. Minus 1 by 8 is multiplied by the 2 by 3. So 1 by 8 multiplied by 2 by 3. So this gives me 2 4s are 8. So 4 3s are 12. So minus 1 by 12. I am getting here minus 1 by 12. 3 by 8 is multiplied by the 2 by 3. So 3 by 8 multiplied by 2 by 3. So 3 get cancelled out. It gives me 1 by 4 values. So I have multiplied this entire row. By the 2 by 3. And corresponding values are mentioned here. Now what I have to do is that I require to subtract these values from this cell. So 4 minus 2, that is 2. 2 by 3 minus 2 by 3, that is 0. 1 minus 0, that is 1. 1 by 6 minus 1 by 12. 1 by 6 minus 1 by 12, so it will become plus. So 1 by 6 plus 1 by 12. So it gives me 12 plus 6, 18 divided by 72. So it gives me 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 here. And 0 minus 1 by 4. So it gives me a minus 1 by 4. Now I require to compute the value of Zj. So Zj is 125 into 2, that is 250, plus 100 into 3, that is 300. So total is 550. Here 125 into 0, that is 0. 100 into 1, that is 100. So total is 100. Here likewise 125 into 1, that is 125, plus 100 into 0, that is 0. So total is 125. Here 125 divided by 4 plus 100 into minus 1 by 8. So if I do this, 125 by 4 minus 100 by 8, if I am doing this multiplication, so as a result finally I'll get 75 by 4. By doing LCM, the final value I'll get as a 75 by 4. If I do this minus 125 by 4 for this one, minus 125 by 4, I'm writing here minus 125 by 4 plus 300 by 8 plus 300 by 8. So by doing this I'll get the final solution as 25 by 4. So I'm writing here the solution as a 25 by 4. Here after computing the value of Zj, you can compute the value of Zj minus Cj. So 100 minus 100, that is 0. 125 minus 125, that is 0. 75 by 4 minus 0, that is 75 by 4. 25 by 4, 25 by 4 minus 0, that is 25 by 4. So over here now Zj minus Cj values, all these values I am getting as a positive. Yes, though here 75 by 4 and 25 by 4, so 25 by 4 is a relatively lower value, but Zj minus Cj has now all the cells as a positive value. For all the cells of Zj minus Cj I have positive value. So furthermore, the optimization cannot be performed using a simplex method. So here the solution is arrived. What is the solution value? When to resume the simplex method? When Zj minus Cj value produces the positive value, either 0 or positive value. After that the further iteration cannot be performed. And what is the solution value? The solution value is mentioned here, that the variable x and y should be selected in such a way that y should have a magnitude of 2 and x should have a magnitude of 3. From the solution column here I am getting my solution, that x is 3, y should be 2, and corresponding the maximum profit that I can get from this Zj value, that is 515. The same I was getting from the algorithm. So here I can write that x should be 3, y should be 2, and max z is 515. If I am putting this 2 into my objective function, I can get the maximum function as a maximization of the function as a 515. So here ends our simplex method. Simplex is, as I mentioned, it is an iterative process. When you get a Zj minus Cj as a positive value, after that further optimization is not possible. The solution value will give you the answer for your decision variables, and Zj will provide you a objective function value. So this is how simplex method works in a tabular format.